Man, good evening, good afternoon, and in some parts of the world, good morning. Welcome to another episode Let
Mhm.
the Madness Begins, Sports Talk Edition. It's a very special edition. We have Geechee Sports Talk in the building. How you doing today?
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
Man, it's a beautiful, beautiful evening. Can't complain, man. How
Oh,
about yourself?
oh yeah. I'm doing all right, man. Can't complain. Can't complain.
Now, I know a lot of people are like, wait a second, where's the other person? Well, like an ostrich that hides their head, that's where he's at right now. So he may join us, but right now he's hiding. And I know y'all like, why is he hiding? Why is he hiding? Because over the weekend, we had two big things that happened in the sports world. First off,
Oh, I forgot
Deshaun
about that one.
played. He finally played in front of all the women
Yeah,
who decided that they didn't want to show their face, but they showed up to the game. Funny how that works out. And then, of
right.
course, Dion decided to tell the world his big master plan. So before we hop into the Dion situation, let's talk about it. So Deshaun Watson finally got on the field. He didn't look good. I mean, he didn't look
No.
bad.
Oh,
I give him credit. He didn't look that bad. But he hasn't
right,
played in what, 2 years?
right.
So how you feel? You think he could pull the Browns to the playoffs? Because right now I think they're 5-7.
It's gonna be tough in that EFC, man. I don't. The best thing they can hope for is just go out there and be competitive. Get them some good reps in, knock the rust off, and come back strong next year because man, the AFC East, you got all of them trying to make the playoffs. Um, the Ravens, they a
They're a
little
lock.
shaken up.
I think
Yeah,
they're a lock.
yeah. You got the
Cincinnati's
Bill.
is Cincinnati's
They
oh
on
god.
they on fire. They on fire right now. So I don't see them making the playoffs. No, man. It'll be close. I have to look at it exactly, but I think the AFC East might be the ones that keep them out. Then you got two from their own division that you know what I mean in the
Yeah.
hunt. So yeah, they might unless they win out. If they win out, I don't know what the rest of their schedule look like, but it'll be tough.
Man, something that you said was if they win out. So I've been thinking, and I'm always on record on this. I said the worst thing that can happen for the Cleveland Browns is Deshaun come back and he win every game.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be the worst thing because
Why you say that?
he's still in the spotlight. So he's still gonna have all that attention on him, and then he's winning.
Right.
If he has, if next week or the week after he goes for over 300 yards and they win big,
Oh yeah, they gonna well, I mean, I'll say this. The city of Cleveland is behind him.
that's what matters.
The national media, they might, they're not gonna put their sales on that
Right.
ledge. But clearly the city of Cleveland don't give two you know what about the situation at all. So I mean, go tear it up. I guess.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I was just like, man, if he could do that, because historically, Deshaun is a good quarterback. Unfortunately, he
Right.
hasn't been on great teams. So if he
Exactly.
does this, I think this may be the first or second time he reaches the playoffs, which would be
Mm-hmm.
pretty good. But he's has always done great statistically. So he got the weapons. I mean, him, Amari Cooper, he got the backs. I mean, he got good tight ends, and they got decent protection. If they could
Right.
keep him from getting injured and they win the next, if they win out, I think if they finish with a winning record, it'll be a bonus. If they win out and make the playoffs, I think it'd be great. I just think that the Browns will be like, man, this is why we got them. But at the same time, God, we got to deal with this every week. If we lose it, then people will be like, oh, they'll probably leave it alone. But when he start winning and he get on TV, he starts smiling.
That $1 million smile, right?
Yep. You already had one reporter crying mad at him.
Um, man, they might not have too much of a choice, man. Like You gave up so much to get him.
Yeah.
You gave up so much to get him. Yeah. You don't
He's
want to
worth
be
it.
like the Rams and who else? The Rams and the Saints. They got
Oh
bad records
yeah.
and they got them high draft picks. I think it's the Rams and the Saints. I believe it's the Rams and the
You know,
Saints.
the Rams gave up a lot for Matthew Stafford, but he got him a Super Bowl, so it worked out in their favor. Um, I get it. I mean, he's still 26, he may be 27 now. He's still young. I mean, he's 10 years. You got him, you can possibly have him for 10 years.
Yeah.
If you surround him with good people, I can see maybe a Super Bowl going through Cleveland.
Say that one more time.
I said you got him for 10 years. If you keep him with good people, I think you could see a Super Bowl going through Cleveland.
Oh, you talking about okay, Cleveland. Okay, ooh, maybe that they got to keep that. I don't know. I don't know if they're keeping that running game together.
Oh,
Because Hunt already talking about leaving. Then you got Amari. So between
true.
this year and next year, they probably gotta make a little run.
Yeah. And but another running back may be on the market. Dallas may end up restructuring the running back deal or cutting a running back. So, you may have another big name running back on the market.
He better just go ahead and restructure, man, and retire Cowboy. Don't do it to yourself, man. It's okay, man. We know we know where your bread and butter at.
That's
And I
true.
think I think with the running back position, the NFL and everybody devalue it so much. If you got two running backs, man, just run with that. You know.
I agree. Unfortunately, it is like that. But when you have like a
Hmm.
workhorse like Travis Henry who can just take that load, it's like, man, the last time we saw a running back like that, I'll have to say he was in the Cowboys uniform, DeMarco Murray. Unfortunately, he burnt out quickly.
Adrian Peterson too.
Well, yeah, Adrian Peterson, but unfortunately, because of his situation, he lost, I think, a year or two of his career for
Yeah,
suspension, and then after that, but longevity, yeah, I give him credit. He stayed in good shape
yeah.
and everything. But DeMarco Murray, as far as I mean, Adrian Peterson set the record. Like he set the single season record, but DeMarco Murray, I think he was the last like true single. Hey, I'm gonna get as many touches as I can, and then when he left the Cowboys,
Oh, you
unfortunately,
talking about the Cowboys and you just talking about the Cowboys franchise?
yeah,
Okay, all right, I got you. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, DeMarco Murray was probably the last one.
yeah. So, but I do hate to see that running back position be devalued because I remember seeing great running backs and playoff time. That's like the running back bread and
Well,
butter.
and it's so messed up because that narrative's so trash and it's so wrong. When Tampa, our last Super Bowl, we won it because we could run the ball. You know what I'm saying? And playoff Lenny was born. That
Whew.
was a huge part of our success. But they want to put all the pressure on the quarterback and the running back. I mean, on in the wide receivers and stuff in the tight ends. But you got to run the ball, man. You got to have that balanced attack. So,
I got a question for you, and that's interesting. Do you believe that since they've been taking the ball out of the running back's hands, you actually having more issues with quarterbacks going down than you have ever before? Because we're seeing like we lost two quarterbacks already. They're saying we may get Jimmy G back for the playoffs, but we lost two quarterbacks, and it feels like quarterbacks go down more now since they took the ball out of the running back's hands.
well, you got quarterbacks evolving. Um, Jimmy G, Jimmy, I don't, Jimmy, what, Jimmy got hurt on a rollout or something. He was scrambling.
Yeah, and
So,
got that ankle hit.
right. So I think it's a combination of running backs evolving. Y'all run the ball a lot though.
Yeah,
y'all like a y'all running team, so that this don't really apply to y'all. You feel me? But y'all balanced. I'll say that y'all balanced. But no, I don't know where this came from, man. I guess I guess the running back ain't sexy, but I find that I don't believe that's true. I don't know what this whole running back's not valuable. I won't draft a running back in the first 3 rounds or first round. I don't know where this came from, man. It's
yeah,
it's it's sickening. I don't like it at all.
yeah. I feel you. I feel you. And before we hop on the big topic, I want to throw a quarterback and ask you your opinion. You think Russell Wilson will have a bounce back year next year?
Better, better. Or them people going, they might take it back. They might take it back. Boy, all that ride, whatever he
Let's
said.
ride.
Yeah, okay, all right, yep, you. But
Yeah.
I hope he does, man. I don't like to see nobody, go down. But they say once you lose the locker room, it's kind of tough, man. And I don't know what, I don't know. You just got there, so how you lost? How you lost the locker room already? Like, so he gotta he gotta switch some things up. He gotta maybe talk to somebody how to be a better leader, because obviously he's not a natural leader. He can't be a natural leader if you already
Right.
lost the locker room in in a season and a half now, a half a season, I should say. But he better get it together because ain't nobody untouchable. You know, ain't
Not
nobody
anymore. Yeah,
untouchable.
you're right.
Tom Brady, Tom Brady. They let Tom Brady go.
Yeah,
Peyton Manning. He didn't finish out as a
that's
coach.
true.
So, bro, you better. Hmm, it'll be you before it be them. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and it's funny. I don't think he personally lost the locker room. I don't think he ever had it, but I don't think it's his fault totally. I think
Right,
his former teammates, because when I see Richard Sherman talking about a lot of things, older other teammates of his coming out speaking out against him, a lot of people who respect them are automatically going to side with them, and I think
right.
that that's what happened in his situation. He's not a guy who comes in and he sets the tone. So he's already reserved and shy. And then you got people speaking against him. He's not going to stand up. Like I want him to get in a press conference and say, Richard Sherman, shut the hell up. I want him to say that. I want him to tell everybody to shut the hell up, but he ain't going to do
You think even with Sierra and all that, you think that got something to do with it as well?
that. I do,
Play a
but
part?
I think I
To make
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the problem I think it is that they don't respect him as a black
Hmm.
And I think that that's the biggest issue. They don't respect him as a black man. He's accomplished. I mean, he really is accomplished. No matter if you say he's a system quarterback or not, you have to be good to be in the system.
Right.
I'm not I always say, Peyton Manning was a better quarterback than Tom Brady because Tom Brady was really system and Peyton Manning wasn't. Even though Tom Brady's arm is better, I mean, there's a lot of better quarterbacks who got better arms, but Peyton Manning was the system. Some
Mhm.
quarterbacks are just better system quarterbacks. And I think that's his case. He's a better system quarterback, but I don't think they respect him as a black man. And I know the people be like, that don't make sense. But if you listen to how people talk about him, they always knock his manhood. Even when
Mhm.
I was watching, I think it was the Pivot podcast, and they were talking about he's corny, but they couldn't give you a definite reason. It's just that he's just corny. So I think because they don't respect him or see him as this ultimate black man, they don't think he deserves Sierra. I think in his mind, he's fighting to have that respect.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, he do come off a little corny now. I ain't gonna lie. But but I think that's okay though. That he if he being himself, if he try to be something he ain't, that make you extra corny. Like
True.
that's a bad corny. Like if you corny and that man, hey man, I'm corny, cool, whatever. corny and confident, I guess,
I like that, corny and confident.
corny and confident,
Get that on a
But if
t-shirt,
you
corny and confident.
corny and confident, like I'm comfortable in myself. I think he comfortable in himself. I don't know.
I think
I don't
he
follow him.
was. I think
Right.
this year he's not because you could see him with Sierra. Everything he does with her is always scrutinized. They take a picture together. People are looking at him differently. Um, I believe that she wants the best for him.
Right.
And because she has his ear, is the reason why he's not in Seattle. I think he should have stayed in Seattle personally.
I was gonna ask you that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he should have stayed. I get it. That's your wife. And of course, she wants the best for you. She feel like they're not respecting you. But sometimes you have to get her to see the bigger picture. Football is not like records or being in the entertainment industry where you could just bounce around and, one wrong move to a wrong system and you have this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. He should have. Yeah, he should have took charge of that situation. If that's if that's really the case or whatever, you gotta. Yeah. No, we ain't doing that. We gonna figure this out.
right.
This is my house. This is my house. Seattle. The Seahawks. This is my house. And we gonna figure it out. If it was money, we'll figure it out. I already got a ring. I mean, maybe we can, I could be the best, Seattle Seahawk of all time. I could be the me around here,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's funny you say that because I think the other issue is the fact that he went to a team. What they say about Denver for the last couple of years, a quarterback away. Now you that quarterback. They really went all in. And the first year with you, it's like, oh. And for him, the worst thing that can happen, and I hate to use Deshaun in this scenario, if Deshaun gets the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs this year, or at least a winning record, that deal that the Broncos did will go down as probably the worst deal in history. Because both of them were bought in because both teams said that they were a quarterback away.
And Seattle look all right, man.
With Geno Smith, let that be known. Geno.
Yeah, and they might get a high draft pick to add to whatever they got going on.
Could you imagine making the playoffs and potentially drafting your franchise quarterback the year after?
You ain't gotta rush him. He can go out there have a real quarterback competition. And if you beat this guy out, you really good. Oh man. And you and now they're right back in the position where they were when they got Russell Wilson.
Yep. Have that veteran one, and then you bring in that rookie, and then over the all season, next thing you know, the rookie happens to win.
Right? If they continue to build up the defense like they always do, now you just be good, the defense good.
Yeah.
I hope Russ figured out
That's the
because
worst thing.
it ain't looking good, Bubba. It ain't looking good.
I'll say this. I feel bad for him because I understand the move. You won't see Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady's fault, and the reason why I say that is because Tom Brady, when he left, forced out of New England, he had the pick of the litter.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't my team wanted him. I was like, nah, we good with Jimmy G. Let's keep porn star Jimmy. We good with him. Hey, he's still a great quarterback. I'm not mad at that. But
Man, if
Tom
y'all had
Brady,
Tom, man.
we would have 2 Super Bowls. I do believe that. We would have
Yeah.
two. So gift and the curse. But when he went to Tampa, he did something that every quarterback, and I said Aaron Rodgers is the same way. He looking at it like he jealous too. He went down to Tampa and he told Tampa that this is my show. And he brought people with him. Think about that. He brought Gronk with him. Gronk came out of retirement. He had people calling him like, "Hey, I want to come play." Like I think at one point they could have signed anybody because of who he is. And other quarterbacks got jealous, and you could see Russ up there in Seattle, he like, wait a second, why y'all not giving me that treatment?
Don't forget AB because Bruce Arians
He
did
said
not want
no.
Adrian, Antonio Brown. He did not want him. Tom. We ain't gonna make this a Tampa Bay thing, but we just showing his power. But he got Bruce Arians demoted. Like he
He
got him out of
did.
there. He truly did. I joked in the offseason before. I'm like, I hope he go in there and get Bruce Arians fired. He really
He got.
did. He really did. So I mean, yeah, he really wielded his power. But yeah,
So every quarterback now was looking at that, and the two quarterbacks that were really watching that was the one in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, and the one in Seattle. The one in Seattle, he pulled the trigger to move, and unfortunately, he saw, hey, Tom Brady went down there and won a Super Bowl the first year, but Tom Brady came down there with the game. Y'all didn't realize how many players he brought with him. Like they built that team just for him.
and then honestly, man, I don't know if Russ or if most people, our defense carried him to the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, yeah, the
He
I'm getting
he
sued.
yeah, he won the Super Bowl, I believe. Well, it was a collective, but yeah, man, our defense was together. Our defense was truly together. I don't know if the Broncos defense as good as ours was, but you know,
I think they were built for the playoffs. They were quarterback away from the playoffs, but the problem is that you started off with a new quarterback and a new head coach, and it was like, oh, two news at the same time. Usually, you get the new head coach and a seasoned quarterback, or you get a seasoned coach with a new quarterback, but you start off with two new. So he started off behind. Um, so I would say that I give it another year. Now next year, then we can say, yo, you might want to retire and live off Sierra money.
yeah. Well, this could be a decent segue, but a lot of these, what's going on in sports now with some of the players and stuff is money or legacy. Which one?
Mm.
Which
Mm.
one we chasing? Which one we going for? So and for some money is the key. Money for a lot of them, honestly. A lot of them is they chasing that money. There's very few chasing the legacy, and can we knock somebody for chasing money? So I mean, because we see what these owners got going on.
It's funny you say that. You see it more. You see a lot more in football because I do believe if football went to guaranteed contracts, I think you would have more people chasing legacy. But because of that empty promise, they're like, wait a second, I got to get what I can get, and you're willing to
Right.
see people um, leave a team for money. For instance, whatchamacallit, Tyreek Hill. Even though he talked as much junk as he did about Patrick Mahomes, if the Chiefs would have paid him, he would have still been a Chief. And they still would be having those runs. But because they didn't pay him, he lucked up and went to the Dolphins team that's up and coming. But you
Hmm.
see situations like that, especially at certain positions, when they go to certain teams, unfortunately they drop off. You know, it is one of those situations where it's like, oh, do I go ahead and make that payday? I'm already coming in the league between 21 and 24. Mostly at 24, I'm coming into the league.
Hmm.
They say by the time I'm 28, depending on my position, I'm already down, and that's what I get paid.
Them boy tough. Boy, them boy tough on them players, man. It's sickening, man. But yeah,
Yeah, so
it's
I do feel you. I think it's money. I think it's rare nowadays. It's rare to see legacy. That's why you don't see teams going back to back winning Super Bowls anymore. Um, Tampa will probably be one of the last teams in a while that you can say back to back was in a position to do it. Because look at the Rams right now. As soon as they won,
Yeah. And speaking of us, even we brought everybody back. I don't necessarily believe that was the answer. We should have tried to got better. We should have maybe brought up, some fresh legs. We whiffed on some draft picks and stuff like that. But I think that might have what injuries too. I'll say that injuries. Yeah, I think if he had a couple players injured, but good teams have good backups or competent backups. So we didn't fill our roster out enough to to maybe a game or two to get you over that hump.
yeah.
So, but yeah,
No, I feel you on that. And that did happen. Unfortunately, it's funny because both teams, when you look at Tampa Bay, look at the Rams in the playoffs on their Super Bowl runs, they were kind of shaky. Because with the Rams, we had them dead to rights, but Jimmy G just happened to turn back into that pumpkin. But we
yep.
had them dead to rights. We had them.
And we blew a coverage, man. Yeah, yeah,
So nobody was perfect. It's just that they lasted the longest. So sometimes you get caught on, hey, we won, and like, oh, we could just bring everybody back together. Instead, say, wait a second, we didn't have the greatest run. So I do agree with you on that, and I think unfortunately teams just you bring if you could bring everybody back, that's what you hope for as an owner. Like if I could bring everybody back, that would be great. But for a lot of players, once you hit that stroll, it's like, man, I could go get paid. Look at AB. AB really thought he was gonna get paid. He actually in his mind thought that another team was gonna pay him. And I still don't understand where he got that from. He has the worst agent in history.
what Drew? That's our old Drew. I think AB did it to himself, man. As far as I can see, man, he just I don't know, man. He just went off on a deep end. It seemed like Tom really went to bat for him, and it seems like because we ain't there in the background, but it seemed like Tom went to bat for him, and he just told everybody to kiss his ass. That's what it seemed like to me, man. But we on to better and better things now. Hopefully he can get together with his rap career. Put an album or something out.
On
I got
Yeezy
I did
Records.
like a single. I did like the single. The single was catchy.
That's the problem. Everybody, everybody can make a single, but you can't make an album. How many people can make an album?
Some of the best of right now can make a decent album.
Exactly. So I do wish him the best, though.
Right.
I hope he gets checked out mentally. I think this is who he is, but I think sometimes certain things can knock you out into this position. I think this is who he is, but he was more under control before that hit. And I think that hit knocked something out of him because after that, he just lost touch with reality. But
Yeah.
hopefully he can get that back. So I'm with you on that. So now I guess we could come to the main course.
Yes, sir.
Neon Dion must be the money prime time. So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about him. And I said that he was going to leave within 4 years. My counterpart, not you, but Mr. William Coleman, was very adamant that he was doing this for the culture. He was doing this for the black. And I kept telling him he's friends with Nick Saban. If you know who Nick Saban is outside of what he did at Alabama, you realize his history is I'm following the money and I'm following what program can make me best. And I said he's going to do that. Nick Saban is going to whisper into his ear and say Jackson State can only get you to the Independence Bowl or Celebration Bowl. He's like, that's it. That's all you're going to get. No, it's for the culture. It's for the culture. And I'm like, well, Deion is not historically a culture person. He went to Florida State. He didn't go to HBCU. He never been about black rights or black this or black that. You got to watch that interview. I said, I've seen so many college coaches say that. oh, I'm for this, for that, and next thing you know, they go pro.
Right.
And guess what happens? Dion went to Colorado. Now, I didn't expect him to go take that job. I thought he would hold out for a better job. But I have a theory behind that. But how do you feel about Dion and within 3 years leaving for a D1 school?
Well, I said it's two sides. It's layered. It's a layer to this. It's a bunch of layers to this, man. Um, my emotional side. I do wish he would have stayed, man. I think he could have got it done. He got a lot done in these what 2.5 years, two,
Yeah.
3 years or whatever. He got a lot done, but you know, my realistic side is I got a different angle. I follow this guy on YouTube, unscripted. I think I sent you a
Yeah,
live of
yeah, yeah,
his.
yeah.
And when I was watching him, he got a lot of information or whatever because he followed the SWAC, that's the conference they in. He followed them a lot, so he made a point, and he was making points where and even to his point, where I'm gonna get to right quick, it came out, you know, Dion was doing a lot. He was doing a lot out of his own pocket.
Yeah.
Um, Dion and the president of the college, I believe. I don't know. Maybe they were at odds in TI's. In TI's words, they were at odds. So my thing is, what was the commissioner of the SWAC and maybe the MEAC? What were they doing? Was there a conversation had where, okay, Dion, are you going to be here for a long time? You got to be realistic. Like what were you doing? I know Dion. I do feel like Dion sold some things. Oh,
Oh yeah, he did.
he sold some things. I mean, you saw the text I said. Oh, God led me. I'll give him that. Maybe God did lead him. Maybe he did. I don't know. I can't question that. That's
It was a
between
collect
him and
call
God.
and he answered.
Right. I don't know. But even still, man, if 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 you have somebody coming into your house and they're going to be here for a certain amount of time, they're going to add something to your house, you got to protect your house. You still got to protect your house. And whoever over the SWAC or whatever, I don't feel like they protected their house. I don't feel like they used Dion correctly. They failed. They dropped the ball. They dropped the ball. Whether he was going to be there 5 years, 10 years, you should have maximized Dion.
Mm.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Was there a conversation had? Did egos get involved? And one thing I know for a fact about black people, they can alienate people.
Oh yeah.
And I'll say this: he ain't sweat. We laughed about it. It is funny. He made light of the moment, but that's how that man truly felt, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that was a outlier of how maybe some other coaches, some other fan bases. He ain't from around here. He ain't swag for real. He didn't go to HBCU.
Right.
Well, fools, idiots, and jerkasses. He could have helped you even more. Another 2 years, you could have got more players in. You could have got some more coaches to come in. But no, you probably wanted to alienate him. Oh, he got the big head. No, fool, that's fine. He bringing money in. He bringing contracts in.
Yeah.
Now, back to what I'm saying. Did my man maximize that? And I don't think he did. I don't think he did at all. And I'll say this. I'll say this last thing and I'll let you. I saw a video. I meant to send it to you guys. It was a young lady who go to Jackson State. and she was walking around asking the students how they felt. And most of them were like, "Oh, he could have stayed," and it was several of them that said, "Oh, he was over football. What he didn't affect us."
That's
That's
not true.
wrong.
Yeah,
That's not true at all. Why do people think the alumni at those PWIs they're pouring so much into those basketball, football? We'll say basketball and football because they bring so much money. They bring so much money. So he what Dion was doing was directly affecting y'all. That was I'm like, oh y'all not just because y'all going to college, y'all not that bright. You know, economics like it's sad, man. This conversation precedes football. So
right.
yeah,
So you brought up a lot of great points, and I agree with you. And one of the things you brought up, and the last point is, and I like that, is people don't understand. So in college sports, football is key. The revenue that football brings in for a lot of schools, that's why a lot of schools go for football teams. That's it's just you want that. And second is basketball. But football reigns dominant in college sports. Why? Because it brings in the revenue. If you have a great program, your school probably have the top educators. Your school gets the top students. And a lot of people don't even realize this. A lot of students come to certain schools because of the football. Matter of fact, at my UNCW, I'm from Wilmington, so UNCW, they don't have a football. They've been fighting getting a football team, but their basketball team, when they started making the tournament, all of a sudden they saw an increase of students. So you see an increase of money, which flows into everything else. So it just managed to have football. Football feeds every sport on campus, and people don't even
mm-hmm.
realize that. Who's going to a swim meet? Nobody. Who's going to a tennis meet? Nobody. But they always have new uniforms. How they get that? Let's be real. Who's really as great as the females are at South Carolina under Don Staley? Who's really feeding that program?
Mm-hmm.
It is Spencer Rattler right now, even though and there's no knock on Don Staley. She built a great program, but realistically, that's how much money football brings in. They don't realize football feeds that. Football brings in so much. So when you have schools like Jackson State and the students don't understand that, it's because you don't realize that having 11-0 team means a lot because it brings in that money. So that dorm room that was about to fall on your head all of a sudden gets new when your football team is good. How many bad dorm rooms are there at Alabama? None, because they bring in so much money that you can't have a bad dorm room there. You can't have a bad hall there. Look at University of Miami. When they started winning, all of a sudden their alumni just started throwing money. Everything, everybody got a building named after them. Legacy. Your building's named after you. So they don't. I think SWAC doesn't understand that, or they do, but they mismanage it. You're right. They mismanaged the Dion era so bad. And what's crazy about that is Eddie George was hired for was it Tennessee State,
Yeah.
and he didn't have the impact. There are
Mm-hmm.
only certain people who would make an impact. Eddie George is probably a better coach. I'm not gonna lie, he probably is a better coach. Some people are better coaches, but Dion has that it factor. You didn't pay him for his coaching; you paid him for that it factor.
And that's why, right? That's why I wish he like I said, my emotional side. I
Right.
wish he would have stayed. But my realistic side, it goes back to you want him to be the recruiter, the spokesman, the PR, the financial, the coach, the mentor. Man, that's a lot
It is.
to put on anybody.
And it's crazy because everything you named wasn't for Jackson State; it was for the SWAC,
It was
and that's where the issue came in at. And once again, who and I don't care what people say, his mentor is Nick Saban. Nick Saban probably looked at him and said, "You are too valuable to be there. You carrying them." And he's not saying Jackson State. He's saying you're carrying that conference. Guess who else realized that? Eddie Robinson Jr. So when he made that statement, he wasn't making that statement because of, it was in the moment. He's been feeling that way for a long time. When Dion came in with such a boast, it went crazy. And then you pulling people, and this is why I said when you said they didn't take advantage of it. Once Dion started pulling in recruits out of the top 25, every other school should at least pull one, and none of them did. That was the failure. Every one of them should at least pull one.
Well, after Dion, Hugh Jackson, he went to Grambling.
Yeah.
He's at Grambling. And the basketball team for Jackson is Mo Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
then
they're
you
not
got
Dion.
not Dion. But I'm just talking about the effect of Dion.
No,
Is what I'm
exactly. You're right. Yeah, Dion brought more people. And I think that the problem, and I'm with you, the emotional side wanted him to stay at least 2 more years because I know what's about to happen. And see, this is where the problem is about to happen with black colleges once again. Dion sold people we can make black colleges great again, but your Lord and Savior left. So what does that tell you? Now you brought up something else, which is actually very important. So I'm a segue to Master P. About 2 or 3 years ago, I know it was during COVID, but a lot of people don't realize this. Master P's son enrolled at Tennessee State. He
I
was
think both of them.
yeah, very happy, very proud. Within 2 months, he pulled his sons out of that school, and he said their facilities wasn't up to par, and they didn't have the necessary equipment, doctors, and everything to take care of my kid. Well, what's the knock on black schools? Even D2 schools like Appalachian State got some state of the art stuff. So it's not because they're not in the D1, it's just alumni is alumni. Guess what? Appalachian State be getting that money. So the problem is you now go back to that old stigma of they can't take care of you like that. Why would you go? If you get hurt, what doctor they gonna send you to? They're gonna send you to urgent care. We got our own team facility. Alabama got a pro style everything.
And I think that's my, I guess it's more my on the more emotional side is like I see people out here making comments about HBCUs. Oh, just slick little comments and I was talking to my homeboy and it it it, it got this aura around it like it being African or African American or black ain't enough.
Right.
Like it's some of these comments and some of these things I'm seeing, man, is not. It make me feel some type of way. No, partly is because of us.
Mm-hmm.
We be our own enemy sometimes, but also these colleges not underperforming the sports, the athletics, underfunded is what I'm getting at.
So it's funny you brought that part up, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but so
No, you
I've
go.
been watching Last Chance U, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, how are these junior colleges panning out better than the SWAC? Like you got literally community colleges with state of the art facilities, and to getting these players who get hurt or these players who do stupid stuff like Cam Newton,
Yeah.
what we call it, son Jim Kelly's, not his son, his nephew, and they go down to these community colleges, and it's like, wait a second, why don't you just go to HBCU? So it exposed Dion, the gift and the curse. He exposed the dark side, which is they don't have it. They don't have the alum, which is crazy because at one point in time in history, all you could go to was a historical black college. So it's not that they don't have the alum. There's a disconnect.
Right.
And that's where the problem is, that there's a disconnect. So Dion exposed that. He exposed, I believe he exposed corruption. He exposed a lot of stuff by being there. He's like, wait a second, I'm here for 2 years, and there's no change. Like my program's still good.
And stay right there. And out of nowhere, Jackson State got bad water now. Did they always have bad water, or did the water just become contaminated? Who knows? Continue.
And that's the point. So now you got that, and I think what school? I think a couple of schools were having dorm issues.
Well,
Um,
Hampton, I believe it was Hampton or Howard, one of the two. Yeah,
yeah,
it was
having
real bad.
dorm issues. Yeah,
It was
so
real bad. Yeah, like
so
a
you
year or
you
two.
so now it's like, okay, well, what brings in money? Sports. So they mismanaged Dion so much. And the other thing you brought up, which was the truth, is he did come out of pocket. I knew that from the get go. I knew he was coming out of pocket. Kind of like when
Yeah.
Michael Jordan went down to the Triple A's, he came out of pocket for certain things because it's
Oh
different.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So Dion, this is his Triple A. Unfortunately, he knows they don't have the fund, and he probably pays some of his staff out of his own pocket. Let's honestly
And then,
be real with that.
and realistically, man, the realistic side, he couldn't keep doing that.
Mm-mm.
Now you want the man to go broke, and then I'm fighting possibly with the president of the college, and instead of us working together with the president of the college maybe and the commissioner of the SWAC, we we jockeying for position, and come on, we beating our chest, but we should be working together
And
because
I'm
we're
glad you
working
brought
for
that
the
up.
kids. We're working for the kids, bro.
So people
Like,
hate Nick
man,
Saban, and they hate him. The SEC, they hate Nick Saban. Nick Saban is a ruthless person, and he is what he is. He's ruthless. He's ruthless with recruiting. He's just ruthless. But you know what? When they have those SEC conferences, all them coaches get together because they share that pot of money. And whether or not they like him or not, it's all about making that money count. Every school that goes to a bowl game brings money back to that conference. And that's the problem with black people. We don't get that mindset of I can work. We can get to the common goal. I don't have to like you, but the common goal is to build up this conference. They could have built up that conference. I believe Dion staying maybe, and this realistically, I didn't see him past 4 years personally because I think he wants to go for a national championship. However, if he had said, you know what, I'm gonna be a legacy coach like Eddie Robinson and stay there long term, I do believe he could have got them at the borderline of D1. I think he could have, but the thing that would have hurt them is the fact that the other schools would have suffered more. His success would have dampened everybody else because he couldn't play them anymore.
so check this out, right? The game with I think it was Alabama State or whatever, when he said he ain't swag,
Yeah,
they didn't beat them by that much. It was a close game. So with that being said, everybody else would have had to raise their standards. And I think if they were working together, they could have.
yeah,
South Carolina State just beat them last year. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like,
That's what exactly South
it's
Carolina
it's it's
State.
it's possible. FAMU and sidebar. I wish Dion would have went to FAMU
Oh,
or
that would
maybe
have been
Bethune or Bethune Cookman.
back in
Man, if
Florida. Yeah, I'm with you on
they
that.
would, he wouldn't have had no back and forth. Man, listen, man. But back to the point. Now I'll say this: far as him, GSU. I think you know everybody collectively, school by school would have had to raise their standards. And if they would have done that, and recruited well in their territories, hey, use we got Dion, we go against JSU, fam or whatever. But I think it could have been done because the SWAC and the MEAC, they could have played the Appalachian states the maybe the North Dakota states. Um, what else team? Senator Walford, Furman, those type of schools,
And I think in
and
2 years he could have got Alabama because he's friends with Nick Saban. I mean, he could have got that on the book again.
right. If all of to your point, if all the other schools, the HBCUs, were playing those schools and beating those schools, then everybody valued or at least being competitive against those schools. Maybe not beating them every time, but being competitive. You know, and then everybody would have been moving together in a certain direction. And my man on Unscripted, his name's Scotty, I believe, he was saying they signed some deals, man, and I think the Celebration Bowl is it. That's that's it. I don't know if they could have gone to any other bowls. I don't know. They signed it was some type of deal like the Celebration Bowl is y'all bowl.
Yeah, they sold themselves short.
They sold themselves short. So okay, you sold yourself short. You're in this position. Create a playoff. It was what he was saying. Create a playoff before the Celebration Bowl, where you got the SWAC and the MEAC. They come together, and then everybody go to the Celebration Bowl. Everybody in the same area, whatever, to build up, anticipate and oh, anticipation of the Celebration Bowl being more than just a bowl. This is the Super Bowl. Just some old whatever bowl. You win the SWAC, you win the MEAC. Okay, now we going to the Celebration Bowl. Well, you win the SWAC, you win the MEAC. Then we go to the playoff, and then we go to the Celebration Bowl. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Or the SWAC and the MEAC championship is the playoffs, and then we go to the MEAC. Now, you know, throughout the season, you beat these other FCS schools. Now the Celebration Bowl where y'all go to slug it out for real, and it means way more. But it takes a collective to do. Well, you can't put it all on Dion, and
No.
it wouldn't be fair to do that.
And Dion, and something else that he exposed. So they had that opportunity to go to the college playoff. I think D2 college playoffs. Like they got the invitation. I didn't even realize that that's how it went. So
Mm.
so they had that's what A&M was Florida A&M was mad about because they ended up with a I think 9-2 record, but they didn't get invited. But
So
Dion, go ahead.
with that their record, I guess their strength of schedule to your point, their strength of schedule wasn't good.
Right.
They was beating
So
up on lower level schools. But go ahead.
and no, you're absolutely right, and that matters. So
That matters.
Dion said something that really was profound. He said, I had to look at it from a financial standpoint because they don't pay you when you go to each school and play them during the playoffs in D2. You funding that
Mm.
yourself. And he's like,
Yeah.
I will make more money in the Celebration Bowl than I will doing that because there's no guarantee. That's one game, I'm done, and then there's no money. However, if we go to Celebration Bowl, by just being there, we make money, and if we win, we get more money. So that exposed the other thing. They don't have the means of upkeeping their programs. So you can't ask a man to stay in a position where you're not giving him the resources. He can go get Pepsi. That's cool. Guess what's going to happen? Pepsi going with him. Everything that he built, unfortunately, is going with him. I know people be like, "Oh, they got a starting point." No, y'all don't. Unfortunately, who's going to stay there? Nobody. Y'all already lost the recruits.
Right.
Y'all already lost the recruits. Every recruit he brought in is either going with him or transferring somewhere else.
Right. And to if you don't have the means to do things or the means to pay him, you have to compensate that with support, with taking some of them rules or learning from him or y'all being on the same page. But if you button head, you he might have stayed if if y'all weren't competing with him. He might have stayed maybe another year or two.
You know what's funny? I believe you, and I would say this, and this is a stretch, but I believe after what Jerry Jones just went through, I believe if Dion would have stayed one more year, he could have called Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones would have made Jackson State Cowboy U. He would have put in all the money into Jackson.
I need some food.
That's
They
his missed
fumbled a bag.
opportunity.
They fumbled a bag, man. They fumbled a bag, man. A couple, $10 million ain't no money to him,
Nope. And
and
I
ten
believe
million dollars
that.
would have $10 million probably would have been like $1 billion for them. It would have meant so much, you know. He might have gave to the whole HBCU. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I honestly, and it's funny when everything happened. I was like, yo, if Dion called him, because Jerry Jones loved Dion because he brought him a championship. If he called Jerry Jones and said, hey, you need a tax write off, Jerry Jones would have wrote that check. Hey, you want to look good right now? He would have wrote that.
But I say this, I say this to the realistic side. Let's say all that happened, right? Hypothetically, and he wrote a check for $1 billion for the
Mm.
HBCUs. I don't know how that break up. I don't know. And all that money would have went to those schools. Where the right thing would have been done with all that money,
Ooh.
and that's where things get sticky. Even with Jackson State, right? Even with Jackson State, it's some whispers going on, some money, you know. It's it get
Oh yeah,
funny,
there's
it
about to
get
be
tricky,
fallout. A coach,
you know.
one thing I learned from Nick Saban, and I use Nick Saban. He's not the only one, by the way, but I think Nick Saban is a testament. And you see with a lot of coaches, they don't leave because they're going to a better position. A lot of times, they leave because they know that something's coming
Right.
down. And I do believe that Dion. I'm not saying personally, I don't think there's nothing illegal in college sports because they do the players dirty. So I don't think nothing's illegal.
Everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody.
everybody.
But I do believe that they turned on Dion and they were ready to drop some. And I do believe they turned on Dion. I believe they actually turned on him. When Eddie Robinson Jr. made that statement, I think that was it. I think he realized, you know what? Y'all don't see what I'm doing or care about what I'm trying to do. Who
I'm
takes
out.
because who takes the Colorado deal? Nobody really. That's not a nobody.
It ain't
He
fair.
could have held out. He honestly could have. A better deal was coming down the pipe. The better deal was coming. Him taking
It,
that lets me know that something was going to happen. He was tired.
yeah, man. And damn, I lost my train of thought. But it's 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 ridiculous, man. This whole situation is ridiculous, man. Oh yeah, my that was my point. They still they do all these things at these PWIs, man. But they get like the death penalty and stuff like that. That's what it's called at
Yeah,
these. They lose their programs and they get them back. UAB just happened to them. Um, a lot of stuff was happening at North Carolina, even with Robert Quinn and
yeah.
cheating. And they sweep it under the rug, win a couple games, everybody forget about it. But we can't. We don't have that margin of error at HBCUs. We can't do that. You can't. You gotta have honor and integrity. So if Jerry Jones would have dropped the boatload of money, man, man, what would have gone crazy, man? Cadillacs everywhere. Goddamn.
You're right. I hate to say it. You're right. All of a sudden, everybody got fur coats. You in Florida with a fur coat on. Like,
And Lincolns. What?
yeah.
MKZ. Oh,
Yeah,
what?
so nah, you're right, man. Unfortunately, the time would tell. In 2 years, we're gonna see the fallout. I actually don't think it's gonna be the fallout's gonna happen, but I give it 2 years. You're gonna see the fallout from it, and I do believe that not intentionally, but him moving himself away from Jackson State and HBCUs is kind of like the death blow to them. That's going to be their death penalty, and I don't think it's going. Honestly, it's you can't recruit. You can't recruit now. You can't recruit because now you have a coach. Because it's rare that you saw a coach from HBCU go to D1. Like they usually stay there forever. So, but now you have a coach that can really tell you, nah, that school ain't gonna be able to
So,
take care of you.
so check this out, right? I believe whoever was whoever that praised the president, the AD over Jackson State. Okay, Dion's not gonna be here in the next 4 years, 2 years, 4 years. He should have been recruiting his next coach after the first month or whatever, the first day. Is it Herm Edwards? Somebody be like, oh, they don't want her. They don't want to see Herm Edwards. Herm Edwards isn't Dion, but Herm Edwards might can coach some stuff up, man. And he got a little personality to himself.
He
You
do.
know what I'm saying?
I like him.
And I saw somebody who was like Cam Newton.
Boy, that would have. I'm not saying he's a great coach, but if Herm Edwards brought Cam Newton on his staff as a quarterback coach,
No, I saw somebody had Cam as the head coach.
oh,
I don't know if
you
he
know
can
what? You know
coach.
what? Let me rephrase that because Cam's not stupid. He's actually a very intelligent man, and I think he could be a coach. And you know what? That would be.
Cam ain't
He's
Dion.
polarizing.
I'm about to say Cam ain't Dion, but Cam right there, goddamn.
Yeah,
But Jackson, they dropped the ball so bad, bro.
they did. And you know what? You brought up that point that I didn't even think about. So in closing, you're right. You knew Dion was going to leave. I think, yeah, you're right. They honestly, what you got to lose? Bringing in somebody like Cam Newton. Now Cam may be like, do I want to follow Dion? But at the same time, Cam, that would be a good look. I mean, he's young. He's won on D1 and he's won at the community
Okay.
college level, junior level. So he knows what it takes to win, and he's going to bring people in. He's going to bring people in. So you're right. If I'm the alum of the school, I'm reevaluating the president right now, and we're having hard conversations about. Matter of fact, if I'm the alumni of the SWAC, I'm reevaluating the
Everybody.
commissioner. Yeah, because I'm be like, so what didn't y'all do? And if Eddie Robinson Jr. like, well, we're not gonna bend over backwards, I'll look at him and be like, y'all shouldn't have blown him because at the end of the day, you would have got
Y'all
more
charge
money.
75,000.
Yeah, think about it. If you making, they're not paying their coaches like that. But if Dion would have stayed 5 to 6 years, every coach would have got a pay raise. Nike would have been flooding them. Dion and Nike go hand in hand. Nike would have been flooding them. Probably would have Adidas would have came in because look what Adidas going through. They would have everybody would have been in Yeezy cleats. I mean, it's just people don't even
And
realize
we're in a
Balenciagas.
time, right? We were in a time where you could have played off being black.
Yes.
You dropped the ball, man. These man, they about to cuss the boy. They could have played off being black. Some type of you could have gone get a man said this. I can't take from unscripted. He was like, you could have gone get Bob Johnson. He could have figured out the television side. You could have figured
Oprah.
something out.
Hey, Oprah,
You
man,
could
you
have.
a Bob Johnson. Come on.
Let's figure this thing out, man. Let's figure it out. Y'all go broke. If you don't know how to do it, hire somebody who know how to do it. Go get go get the guidance. Go get a mentor. No, y'all too busy. Got that having a pissing contest problem. So with all that being said, emotional side, I wish Dion would have stayed. I hate the conversations, the slick conversation, the slip remarks of people who barely like black people who really like black people, this
Yeah,
their moment right here.
exactly.
This
Oh,
their moment right here to okay. This their moment. Oh, you see them black people don't know how to act. Ooh. Oh yeah, I would have left too. Man, shut up. You don't do nothing for black people. No way. You don't care about them no way. But the realistic side also, I mean, I can't really you could argue with that person, but if you being real, you can't blame him. He coming out of pocket. He only making 300. He gotta look out for his family. He gotta look out for his coaches. I mean, and we having a tug of war, pissing contest, this, that, and the third. What else you want the man to do? And he done upgrade some stuff since he been here. And y'all working against me. Y'all making my I'm doing 4 and 5 times my job and getting paid what he get. No, man, I ain't doing this. I'm out. I don't, you know, I'm out. I'm
I
out.
feel you. I feel
Yes,
you,
man.
man. Man, so in closing, man, what you got? What you got new going on? Let the people know.
Oh man, you see the
I
form.
see that. I love it. I love
I
it.
gotta get some more form, man. But other than that, man, I gotta start reaching out to people. But it's coming, man. It's coming soon, man. What you got? What y'all got on y'all end?
We're trying to do some things in the work revamp. Everybody wants to revamp now, so we got to revamp and try to push forward. And maybe one day me and Kwame Brown can sit down and have a good talk.
Mm. Oh man, he been a little quiet these last couple months. Well, I haven't followed him so close, but he been a little quiet.
It's not that he's quiet. And I'm not a big fan of Tommy Sotomayor, but Tommy Sotomayor made a great point about people, and he used Kwame as an example. He said the problem that people have is they'll follow you and let you do stupid stuff until it's not funny anymore, and
Mm.
you don't realize that you're more butt of the joke than anything else. So people stop following him because they realize he's not making any sense. He's the butt of jokes.
All right.
So
Yeah. You,
unfortunately,
I guess that 15 minutes,
he didn't do nothing with it.
right?
Once again, he could have changed some things, but unfortunately, the internet is a drug, and you forget your purpose in times.
Um, I got another question, but you wrapping up. We could maybe talk offline about this, but Kyrie. But we can talk offline about that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. All right, man. Be blessed, and thank y'all for watching. We're out.
yeah. Hold it.